I can guarantee that at least once in your life, you told yourself to take it one step at a time, to build your life one brick at a time, just like Lego sets. When I was a child, I loved Lego sets. They were a source of fun that my parents never failed to supply me with. However, thinking about it now, I realized that buying me Legos could very well be my parents trying to shape me into an engineer like my father, subtly and unconsciously. From our tender years, many of us, especially our elders, were guided, pressured, or even silently brainwashed into choosing or pursuing a certain career. And in many cases, we end up choosing our parents' plan and pursuing it just to execute our parents' expectations. Nevertheless, taking things step by specifically waiting for your future to crawl into your lap, is not a good solution. Now, I'm definitely not against dividing your tasks and building and solving them slowly. It's an amazing way to do great things. It's when the meaning of step by step is distorted that its effects are somewhat detrimental. It is often viewed that when we are in school, all we need to do and all we are responsible for as students is just that, be a student, and worry not about the future until it comes. Even by the time we are in college or university, we still try to limit ourselves to whatever we are doing in that instant. This is also fueled by individuals around us. You don't know what you want to study when you grow up? It's okay, it's still too early. You're not sure what you want to work as? That's not a problem. You're still too young anyways. But these statements are true in our case only for a simple reason: the how we are channeled and brought up. The way we are raised determines how we think about our present and about our future. So in our case, it is too early and we are too young, but only because we didn't start off correctly. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but when you're racing, whether running or skiing, for example, your start is an instrumental part of your performance. This can be applied more generally to your own life. If from the start, you teach yourself to explore your interests, to look into the world around you, and fulfill your potential, it will never be too early and you will never be too young. Exposing yourself to multiple potential futures early on ensures you can make better decisions about the upcoming prospects of your life. By truly understanding what comes with certain careers, exposure helps us really understand what we're going into in our future. Reminiscing on the Legos and engineering, I can recall that for a while, I had actually been completely convinced that civil engineering is what I was going to pursue. However, I used to think that becoming an engineer would make me happy only simply because it was all I knew. But the moment I explored beyond that, I realized how small my box really was. So in the summer after 9th grade, I decided to expose myself to the field of biology and medical research. I had the amazing opportunity to volunteer at a research lab in the University of Pittsburgh in the US. I still remember standing in that lab, watching cells underneath the microscope and counting them, trying to determine which are alive and which are not. But then and there, time paused. I wasn't just watching, I was part of the experiment. I was part of the evolution. I was contributing to the very engine of innovation that propels our world forward. I thought to myself, I'm really doing this. This isn't a school project or a textbook. This is discovery. And somewhere between labeling tubes and making gels, it clicked. This is it. This feels right. This is where I belong. I wasn't just curious anymore, I was alive. And in that moment, I realized I had found my passion. Nowadays, comparing my internship at the lab to the work I did in engineering, I can confidently say that for every one thing I found interesting about engineering, I found twice, and if not more, in biology and medicine. But in the end, this comes down to each and every single one of you. So, my advice, look and seek many different options. Investigate them all, inspect them closely. I can tell you now for a fact that I may very well open up a bakery. I absolutely adore baking. But this tells you not to limit yourself in life. By truly understanding my interests, I am able to appreciate how to properly fit them in my life. I recognize that for me, a career in medicine is the preferred choice, keeping baking as a preferred hobby. Nevertheless, I might still, later on in life, decide to develop my baking hobby into something more like a career. And you should know that there is never too big of an obstacle to stop you from doing that. Many of you might also suggest that it's too young to start because of the lack of experience. But there is a first time for everything, isn't it? So why not make your first time now? Currently, I work as a student volunteer at a research lab in the Faculty of Medicine at AUB studying diabetes. Surrounded by PhD and master's students, I am by far the youngest person to ever step into and actually work in the lab. And this was all just one email away. With one email, I was able to get myself a position at the lab, where I was trained for 2 months and then got assigned to a specific project. I still remember, I almost did not send that email. I stared at it for hours on end, rewriting that first sentence over and over and over again. I was so scared that I wasn't qualified enough. But then I decided to hit send. And that one click changed my life. So don't be afraid to take your first step now, because in most cases, it is just one email away. Another side of this that isn't very brought up is with adults and the older generation. Yes, I'm addressing you parents. In our society, the path often seems predefined. Finish university, get a job, get married, build a family, then stay in the same spot, in the same role, as if growth has an expiration date. But just as the younger generation can explore their interests, it is equally as applicable to the older generation. Remember that growth doesn't stop and reinvention is always possible. So why stop at the bachelor's or your master's? Go for your PhD, aim higher. Let's say you want to become a better cook, take some culinary classes. You can always strive for more and you will always find a way. So yield not on your dreams, but rather fight to make them come true. However, another aspect that is very important to consider when discussing exposure, other than careers, is culture. In our society, especially in Lebanon actually, we sometimes seem to hold on to traditional mindsets, often unconsciously. And while traditions can be powerful and can be important and can be valuable, they can also create barriers, sometimes slipping into prejudice or discrimination when we're not careful. But this way of life and this way of thinking will lead us nowhere. The world is ever evolving and always developing. We are growing into a universe where inclusivity and freedom are intertwined with the very basis of life as it is. And this discrepancy in mindsets has its visible effects. Though not direct, development is linked to the people leading the change. And if people are not united over their differences, consensus will never be achieved and we will be stuck in a never-ending era of stagnation. From experience, I was able to observe this difference in attitude between the US and Lebanon. Though definitely not the only factors at play here, the lack of marginalization and the promotion of collaboration in the US certainly played a role in creating a more developed environment, community, and sense of self. Exposure isn't just about careers, it's about experiencing different ways of thinking. Ultimately, the world is interconnected, and we thrive when we embrace different perspectives. Therefore, by adopting an open-minded way of thinking and by exposing yourself to new cultures, you will be better equipped to flourish in the inclusive world of the future. Now, as Miss Whitney Houston once said, the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So for any current or upcoming parents, remember this. Raise the next generation with ever-growing curiosity and interests to form a generation not preoccupied with it's too early or I'm too young, but rather with how soon can I start. And to each of you sitting here, I want you to think about one thing. One thing you would do if you had infinite resources and infinite opportunity. One thing you would chase if there were no limits. Something just for you, something to grow, to learn, to evolve. Now, during the rest of this event, and as you leave, I want you to think about this one thing. How possible is it? I'm pretty sure that in many cases, it is very possible. The first step may seem small, like placing that very first Lego brick, but sometimes it's also the hardest. It's the one that comes with no roadmap, no guarantee. It asks you to trust yourself before anyone else does. It demands vulnerability, because taking that first step means you're opening up yourself to failure, to doubt, and to change. But it is also the moment where things begin to shift, where hesitation turns into action, where dreams begin to form. It's proof that you're willing to show up for yourself, and that alone is powerful. So don't keep your dreams waiting. Don't just imagine the tower. Start stacking and start building up your future. It may be hard, but don't let hard stop you from doing what you really want. It is your life, and you are in command. So take my word for it. It is not too early, it is not too late, and it is never impossible. So dream big, act boldly, and most importantly, begin now. Thank you.